Here we are. All right, everybody. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about fertilizer. Tonight's guest we have Hector and Luke is showing you off a paludarium, I believe, that he actually uses some of the ferts with also. Uh, let's see what we got here in chat. We'll do a little hellos and then we'll get into it. We got Patty was in here first. She's having some fun. We just say it like that. Bunny Viper, Bigfoot, Bruiser CB, Sandy Dowdy. Stephen P was here. He was away. He was on a trip. He was at Disney, so he probably needs to put his feet up for a little bit. We got Only Oscars. We got Nathan. How you doing? We got Linda. Fish Rumor, how you doing? Scuba Steve Vlog. What's up? And why are we always yelling? Well, I don't know. We just yell. You know what I mean? But get this started off. So you developed your own line of fertilizers. And it's called Hector's Everything Aquarium Plant Fertilizer?
Aquatic plant fertilizer, yeah.
Aquatic. Yeah, here I got you. There's the label. Oh, hey, it focused finally. I tried showing that before and it wouldn't focus. I don't know why. But what got you? What wanted you to do that? Can you talk a little bit.
There's various things that led to the development of this product. All right, there's a bit of echo. Okay, so I'll just say so I ran Albany Aquarium for a while.
And what's Albany Aquarium?
It's a planted aquarium shop in Albany, California.
Was,
yeah, just owner retired recently. And when COVID hit, there was very little time to do anything. And so I had to fertilize everything very quickly and keep everything looking good. So that was one of the motives. The other one was I was working with a good friend of mine. This echo's weird. So I was working with a good friend of mine named Carter, and we were developing the automatic aquarium in which a computer from our network would control basically every aspect of your aquarium over there, wherever you were. So that was developing automatic dosing, water change, lights, monitoring, video feed, that sort of thing. And the end goal was to have machine learning AI run this thing and harvest the data and make a ton of money. But as I was developing the peristaltic pump system that was dosing all the different nutrients into the aquarium, this stuff would just constantly fail. Lots of problems unless you bought incredibly expensive peristaltic pumps. So one day I thought, what if I make like a little Pez dispenser, an automatic Pez dispenser? If you took the nutrients, made them into a little ball or something, we could probably make a machine that's not that expensive that just dumps it in at whatever rate. It turns out it was pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult to make a comprehensive fertilizer ball that dissolves rapidly, which is one of the criteria that I think is very important. But I made a comprehensive powder that has all the nutrients that aquatic plants need, and that's the product.
So does it have to be just in aquatics? Can you use it, I don't know, like in any plants, like house plants and stuff like that?
Oh boy. Oh yeah. Oh, it works so well. It's here. Is that
Well, the paludarium you're looking at is also fertilized
Oh wow.
by the same stuff.
so? That's on top of my 60-gallon, and um, what I've what okay. The other thing I've done is made these little clippy plant holder, and you put gravel in here or whatever your medium is, and a house plant that could live with the roots in the water, and throw it like this.
Oh, okay. And you made those with a 3D printer?
Hold on, I can't hear. Here we go.
I said, did you made those yourself with a 3D printer? Or did you have somebody make them for you?
I have two other colleagues who do the printing. I do a lot of the designing.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and you could load a whole tank. I mean, it becomes a whole different ecosystem. You guys want me to pan to a tank with that?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let me know if it looks good and you see it.
Yeah, we could see it. Oh, okay. I see what you got there. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And that can work on any tank, not just rimless, but it can work on like a regular Aqueon and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the plan is to have clips, plant clips that will work with all tanks. Yeah.
I can show a few that I have on some rimmed tanks right now.
Okay. Do you have I forgot to ask Luke this and you. I was going to put it in the description. Do you have a website that people can buy stuff, or how could they, go about getting some fertilizer off of you?
So you can go to hectorseverything.com. They're currently my designers and my web developer are trying to get it running very well. And so I think for the time being, probably it's down for a week or two. But you just go to hectorseverything.com.
Okay.
Or just email me at hectorseverything.com. If you want to know.
I was trying to find it. Wonder why I didn't. This is weird. I am not prepared today. I'm still on a hangover from that auction last night. 2 hours of doing
it. Fun time.
It went very well. But okay, hold on a minute. There you go. That's on a regular rim tank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it works pretty good.
Yeah, and I keep finding more and more plants that can thrive like that. Okay. Yeah, it's awesome. I personally really like the Sigonium, any kind. They're awesome. They all do great.
One of the things with that is if you have fish that jump, it wouldn't work too well for you unless you design a lid to go on there to where you can make your own lids, right? Like I did on.
Well, you could put a ring of plants all around, and then that would greatly reduce the chances of fish coming out too. Just that extra lip, that extra barrier should keep most things in. If you got big wild bettas or some larger killies or something, it might not work out so well. But for most things, it should be fine.
Oh, okay.
I've made really nice custom lids for customers clients that incorporate the clips. There's glass components, acrylic components that I cut and curves and all that jazz. Yeah, it just takes effort. You have to throw money and effort. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's one thing that whenever you uh, go to start stuff, how long have you been doing this fertilizer now?
If I go back to where I first started to learn plant nutrition, chemistry, and tinkering with the stuff, about 8 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
hmm 3 years ago is when the product started to become a thing, like a functioning all-in-one powder. Yeah. And what you have is an older formula. This is pink
Yeah, this
or
is
beige,
yeah.
and it has a heck of a lot more iron, which I long term. I can't call them studies, but damn near close to studies showed iron deficiency.
Yeah.
Gosh, this echo is really weird.
Uh, June wanted to know if you have any acrylic tank with an edge. Does he have? Oh, okay. Do you
Yeah,
have plant containers that would work for those type of tanks, like acrylic?
yeah, with the big old thick acrylic rim.
Hmm.
Not yet. Working on it. Might have to be like a clip like this instead of like that, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that because them acrylic lids are.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it depends. If it's an acrylic tank that's set up like a regular tank, you'd be okay. But if it has the lid already made for it, it just has holes, you would have to design something else for that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. In some of the really thick lidded ones, I actually just drill a hole that's that diameter and put it in there. So I've done that.
Oh, so but you would definitely would have to have. Well, once you do that, you drill that hole, it's going to stick. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and this, as you can see, it goes down
Right.
quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, that's what June was saying. She hasn't found anybody that makes them for an acrylic tank yet. Well, there you go. That's an idea for you to get working on.
Well, shoot me an email, and I don't know, I'll send you what we're developing, and see what you like. Give me feedback.
And what your email was Hector's everything at gmail.
Oh, sorry. Email me at hector@hectorseverything.com.
Hector's at there ain't no apostrophe in there, is there?
No.
Okay.
Nice Marcelia.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have some of that. It's nice stuff.
It's great.
So,
Is that quadrifolia?
Yeah. I mean, since I put it in this low boy, though, look at it. It's actually all of it has 4-leaf clover leaves, which typically doesn't happen underwater. I think it's just because it's so shallow. I just trimmed all the ones that grew above the water line the other day. So,
dude, look at that low, so organized, so organized, lovely.
That's crazy.
Carpeting plants are
That's
down
awesome.
below. The stems are up top.
Yeah.
You know how
That's
anal
awesome.
I am about that.
Oh man, I gotta organize so many tanks.
So, do you want to talk about the dosage of the fertilizer? How
Yeah.
often you recommend
Mhm.
to use it, and all that jazz?
Sure. So, okay, I'm gonna slightly move my thing because that echo is making me stop sentences prematurely. So, I've written pages and pages on dosing this stuff, and I distilled everything to one sentence, and it's the following. Directions. Add 1 heaping spoon of fertilizer for every 10 US gallons of total aquarium water after a 50% water change. I recommend this happens weekly, but if you can't do it weekly, every other week, whatever your schedule is, it's very forgiving. And then let me show you the. Is there no scoop? Oh, here it is. Get the scoop out. We have a proprietary wooden scoop, and that's 1 heaping scoop. So
Oh, okay.
then don't skimp on it. Big old spoonful. I mean, that counts. Yeah. And that's really how you use it. That's it. And it's really important not to make it complicated. Just get that water out, put the fertilizer in, and get the water in there. And that's it. Awesome news. This stuff now has dechlor. So that dechlorinates your tank and fertilizes it. All right. And it has calcium, magnesium. So this has all your hardness, your bicarbonates. So if you're doing CO2, it's not going to gas your fish, or you're not likely to. Yeah, it's freaking awesome. It's super easy. I mean, we went at Albany Aquarium. It would take us 1 employee. I mean, if you did it fast, it took us 45 minutes to fertilize the store. And we would carry it. And Luke did it. Actually, Luke, you developed the spreadsheets. And there were C-Chem fertilizers and other fertilizers, and we had pages of spreadsheets on what to dose what day. And it would take, God, I mean, Sophia got pretty fast with it, but it would take me like an hour easily, and just couldn't do it.
That's great. That's a lot. And then you just simplified it with a powder that you just put into the water column, and it'll dissolve fairly quickly.
Yeah. Oh, so Skipper, so how's it been? You used it, or what do you think?
I started using it, and I did notice a little bit of a difference in the tanks now with the plants.
You want to show us your tanks that are running it?
Oh my! Well, no, they're a mess right now. I haven't had a chance to clean up down here yet, but I do use it, and whenever I put it in there, I was like, man, this stuff it's so simple. Like,
Yeah.
I've used root tabs and stuff like that, and it just seems like the root tabs, you get them too close to the plant, it can burn them out.
Mm-hmm. So most root tabs, and actually most fertilizer use. All right, God, the echo. They use ammoniacal nitrogen, which is ammonia based, or urea, which is refined P, or extracted from urine. And they're good. I mean, our farming industry runs on it. It's great stuff. It's cheap, but it is, it tends to burn stuff if it's concentrated in your plants. I don't use any of that. I use good old potassium nitrate. Yeah. I go out of my way to buy really high quality ingredients for this. Yeah.
I will say, for some of my plants that are really heavy root feeders, I do still use root tabs.
Okay.
Some of the substrate in the 50 is like 8 inches deep at the bottom. So the fertilizer isn't actually dissolving that far down.
No.
It's pretty good about dissolving mostly in the water column, and it doesn't totally dissolve on addition. You're going to get some granules that sit on your substrate, and as they dissolve a little slower, they probably do fall in between a little bit. But some of my crypts have roots all the way down to the bottom of 8 inches, and I have to use root pads for that. And in that case, while we don't like the complicated CChem dosing regimen of all their liquid fertilizers and stuff, and that was the genesis of Hector's everything, the CChem root tabs are the best ones.
Okay, I have used them because I looked at the other root tabs and I just didn't like the capsules of them. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
we got a couple questions here. Does that powder also cover the chloramine side of it?
So here in the Bay Area, we have chloramines. Yes, and I just use my product for dechlorinating. I use tap water. We have 1 to 2 parts per million here. I did a lot of research. I cold called all the labs many of the labs in the biggest cities of the United States on what they're using, chlorine or chloramine or a combination, and what percentages are in the tap water. And I didn't really find one that went over about 3.5 parts per million. My stuff covers up to 5 parts per million. So when you use 1 heaping scoop, it's calibrated to cover your tank, a whole 10 gallons, for chloramine or chlorine or chloramine up to 5 parts per million, which is, if you have that in your tap water, that sucks. But yeah.
I know, like, as I got town water. So with having town water, you're getting it from a water treatment facility, and they add stuff into it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they have to use chloramines, depending upon if the water is coming out of the river. So that's one of the things that I got to look for whenever I do water changes. Is I got to make you could smell the difference in the water. It's crazy. And I've noticed there is a difference because I can really smell it. And, I use API water conditioner, and it has both in it. But other than that, that's good that yours, you can just use that as opposed to, using the
there's no secrets under the sun. Dechlor is dechlor. We're all using the same base chemical stuff. Some people add more stuff. CChem has maybe, I don't know, some magic juju, but I don't need magic juju. I just need it to get dechlored. That's all. The other thing is, I've had a lot of clients where I work on their tanks or consult them or whatever, and I go into the cabinet to look at the chemicals they're using, and it is, a mess of products. An ungodly amount. And there's bottles and there's stuff coming out of the caps, and it's bananas. And then they start using my stuff. At first they hesitate a little, then they get a little good feedback from the plants, and then because it's so easy, they just keep using it. And they get rid of all the other stuff, and now it's a clean cabinet. So,
you do end up collecting different stuff. Lori was asking about the, let me find it here. Oh, yeah. Do you use the same amount for different size tanks? So it's one heaping spoon per 10 gallons. So if it's a 20-gallon tank, you're going to use 2.
Yep.
And
little preview for the Findig, and this will also be a product that we'll sell. This is a 15-gram jar. It's a teeny weeny. Label's not on there yet, but let me up the top. And there's your spoon. And that's a 1 gallon spoon. Yeah. So you'll have a 1 gallon spoon too. Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Those are the goodie bags
Mm-hmm.
for the Findig?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're great.
What's nice about that is, you got people that have, like me, for instance, I have a couple 29s. That's a good idea as opposed to just adding 2. You need 9 more, I mean,
Right.
I could add 3 in there and it should be fine, right?
Yes. That's what I do on my 29s. Check this out. Spoon, 10 gallon side,
Uh-huh.
1 gallon side.
Oh.
Isn't that cool? I mean,
Yeah.
I figured it out on accident, but it's roughly the same amount. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Maybe we'll take we'll make a machine rig and we'll dig a little dimple in there and make it, more obvious. But
That would
yeah.
be pretty neat. That'd be a good
Yeah.
idea. Ooh, George is getting them fish today, he says. Yeah, you're going to love them fish. They're nice. L236 is what he bought last night. We're halfway through the stream, so I think we could do a giveaway.
Yeah.
What are we going to offer them for the giveaway?
The main missile, the main jar, 160 grams of everything.
We're going to do a hashtag Bert. Because it's I'm so original. I didn't feel like writing the whole thing out. So if you guys are interested in getting a jar of this today, it's going to be hashtag Bert for the giveaway. And we'll let this generate a little bit. And we'll roll it. I ain't waiting until the end. We're just going to do it whenever I feel like it. Because of people coming in late, they should already have been here for it. And it's generating, so that's good. We'll go ahead and bring that back down. What else could I ask about?
Oh, damn. Nice. Oh,
Looking
that's
pretty good
great.
right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Lovely. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's crazy.
Look at that.
Lights will come on soon.
Oh,
Or the main light, I suppose.
oh,
So I
have
guess
uh-huh.
Go ahead.
I just have this interesting thing to add that recently came up. So you guys might be aware, and the audience members might be aware as well, that there's sort of like the heavy nutrient dosing methods and lean dosing methods. So like Tombar EI versus like 24-hour Aquarius or CChem, right? And so my stuff is, it's the heavy nutrient. It's got everything you need and lots of it, and you're going to have incredible vegetative growth. But if you use it per instructions, you may not get sometimes that beautiful, transparent, thin red leaf kind of look, right? You know what I mean? But so what's interesting is I had an old customer of mine. He had to go out of town, visit mom, and he has a beautiful aquarium. I mean, he's a woodworker. Oh, amazing. We're hoping to put it on the website as a testimonial. But I gave him a jar of my stuff before the store closed, and I didn't have labels printed out. So I wrote it down on a napkin or something, and of course he lost it. So he's been using one heaping scoop per 75-gallon tank, and I'm densely planted. Like if Luke is a 9 out of 10 densely planted, that tank there, he's 7.5 or 8, just to give you a sense of it. And I went in there, tested the water. I said, hey, look, pretend I'm not here. Do what you do to your tank. He's using it in a lean way, and it works. And he's getting those beautiful red plants, those thin leaves. I just thought I might add that. I'm going to write something up about it, but it's pretty exciting.
Here's the thing that I've learned about lean versus heavy dosing, right? It's that it doesn't really matter what you do as long as it continually exists in some amount.
Yeah.
So I definitely do not lean dose. In fact, with this 50-gallon tank that we're looking at, I dose it as if it was 100 gallons with Hector's everything.
Awesome.
Far from lean, since the normal dosage should be already considered not a lean dose. And the caveat there is that I have a mangrove growing and it sucks up all the everything.
Yeah.
So
that's Sorry, go ahead.
You should be able to balance out a lot of different factors and still get colors. Like it may not be super clear right now, and I know it doesn't come off on camera super well because everything sort of jumbles together, but it's not as if all my plants are green by any means.
Yeah, same. I got a client with pink flamingo, no CO2, looks great.
Shimon. Yeah, I've been there for the longest time. I've never used fertilizers, and I could tell that they need it because fish waste ain't going to be enough when it comes down to it.
Nope.
Now it helps with that fish waste that is being made, but I feel that you do need fertilizers now to help with the plants because you're already figuring out how to take care of your fish, right? Now you need to figure out a better way to take care of your plants.
Oh, it's a whole complicated mess. It's, gosh, some instructions of fertilizer lines are, you can't follow them. If you have any responsibilities, kids or, podcasts, you're running a store, if life just happens, you're going to skip, and then you're not going to know what you skip. Like another big thing was I consulted people on how to grow plants, aquatic plants in particular, but there was horticultural clients and whatnot. And I, at some point, I ended up writing reports with my little business logo and, it looked like something professional or whatever. And I would spell out, and I was prescribing C-Chem products a lot. And I would spell out, add this, here's the schedule. And sometimes they'd give me feedback saying, hey, this is bananas. And I would simplify it. But I couldn't get a lot of folks consistently to dose, other fertilizer lines. But at some point, this was 4 different jars. So 3 jars and a vial, a dropper. And I even made little like cardboard caddies that had a little slot for your spoons. And even that was too much. It was too much for me, frankly. And then I put all of it in one thing and had to study it and make it, not change in the jar over time and not add crap chemicals that may harm fish or plants long term. And here we go. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. You got it down to one. Because, like, for somebody like me, that I have two kids. We do stuff, and then I work a full time job, and I can only get down here maybe a couple hours a day. Not like I could spend all day down here and do everything. But whenever you use this, it's just simple. You do a water change of that tank, add some in because you took it out. Now, one of the questions that was being asked in the chat here was with over fertilizing, that like say you got a 10-gallon tank, you put 2 scoops in, right? You want to double the doses. Would you get a big algae bloom from it, like hair algae, algae that's grown on the freaking rocks? It doesn't look like hair algae. You know what I mean?
Cladophora, all that jazz. So that's an excellent question, and I have to admit I don't know. I really obsess about algae in the opposite way that most people do. I find them fascinating. But I will tell you this. So first thing I want to say is it's way more common that people get algae blooms from not adding fertilizer or nutrients for the plants. That's way more common than it is that you over fertilize. Now, typically, when you get a very specific algae bloom from over fertilizing, it's typically because there was a lot of one thing added or a lot of one thing accumulated and or another thing depleted, right? So if you go over Tom Barr's work, which I highly recommend, or Diana Wallstedt's book, essentially, it's hard to over fertilize if you add all the nutrients in its correct proportion. Now, that being said, there's a point in which we add so much of one thing that it prevents the plant from absorbing other things. So in the case to answer that question pragmatically, if you added 2 scoops in a 10-gallon, if that 10-gallon had a ton of plants, and we're talking like a plant clip throughout the back, growing up the wall, a beautiful teeming jungle in there, that's probably beneficial. However, if you have a tank where, a week ago you went to Petco and bought 6 different kinds of species, maybe you have 10 plants total or 8, yeah, that's way too much. Stick to 1 scoop. That being said, I haven't had someone have an algae bloom. I haven't had an antidote of an algae bloom of any kind from an overdose of that magnitude. If that makes sense. Almost always it's the opposite. As a matter of fact, Albany Aquarium unfortunately closed fairly recently. So I still get calls from the customers saying, hey, can I ask a question? And yesterday I got 3 calls, and 2 of them were, people got string algae because they just weren't adding the nutrients their plants need.
Okay, so Dee Dee made a comment / question. So in theory, could you dose your water storage barrel prior to water changes and it'd be ready to go?
Yeah. Actually, if it's, I like the way that question was. I like that sentence. So, storage barrel, yes. However, yes, because say for example you had a 40-gallon tank, and it's to me Sundays is my water change. So you took half of it out, which let's say theoretically in a perfect world it's actually 20 gallons. It's never 20 gallons. We all know that.
Yeah.
So you took half of it out, and you had your barrel, a 20-gallon barrel, and you added 2 scoops in there. Yes, that's great. However, there's evidence to suggest that if in the same scenario, if you had a 40-gallon tank, drain it halfway, and then you went to your sink and you open the tab and you filling up a 5-gallon bucket. If you added a scoop to that bucket, this stuff is really concentrated stuff. It's really strong stuff. I want to emphasize that. And the reason why this can be on a shelf and not go bad is because these chemicals aren't in water. If they were, they would disassociate and reassociate in ways that they wouldn't be uptaken by plants unless there was a biological activity for a while. Other stuff. So basically, I don't recommend it go into your 5-gallon bucket unless you're doing a half scoop. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, add it to your tank because it's enough water to have the chemicals not reassociate in ways that inhibit plant nutrient uptake.
Okay.
Great question.
Yeah, because I've thought of that, like, because a lot of times people use them 55-gallon totes.
Mhm.
If they don't want to use dechlorinator, they will let it kind of age, so to speak, with an air stone, and the air stone will get rid of the chlorine and chloramines. Essentially, is you're gassing it off, right? So if you would do that with fertilizer minus the air stone, because you want to keep that in there, that you can do that. Now,
you can. You probably will glow if there's light in there. You will probably glow algae.
Oh yeah.
In that, well, because it's just so nutritious. Yeah, something will use it.
Yes. Yeah. After a while, so I mean, because a lot of, I'm going to tell you this. Whenever I did it, the fish went after it. And I was like,
Yeah, yeah, they do that.
I got, for example, I got corridors. So what I essentially thought about doing was using a 1 gallon, like a container, and I was just going to put the heaping spoon in there, add the water into here, let it dissolve, and then put it in. And can you do that, or do you recommend just go ahead and just dump it in? Because it may make some people nervous whenever they see that. Is it going to kill their fish? Because essentially they're eating it, and I'm sure they're spitting it back out. But
So excellent question, and I'll answer it in 2 phases. One will be the theoretical one, and another one will be the pragmatic one, which is what people actually do, and I've observed them do, and they keep doing it. So yes, there's a fair amount of clients and customers and people that I've interacted with that like the product and use it in the way that you just showed. They have some sort of pitcher or container or jar, and they add X amount in there, shake it up, boom. Damn near most of it gets pretty close to fully dissolved. Typically, the calcium and magnesium won't, but if your fish eat that, yeah, whatever. That's good for them. They do that. Plants work. Tank works. Looks good. Theoretically, you should have iron mined up to other stuff in that jar. That being said, perhaps that's why I've had to add so much iron to it, because a bunch of it gets bound up anyways, and that's another fun discussion. Yeah, that's it. So do it. The most important thing is to get the darn thing in there. Just put it in. Do it whatever way you think. And also it's not toxic. I don't recommend you eat it. You should get really awful diarrhea. You do. Yeah. But it's not. I mean, I'm not a doctor or anything, but if barring some weird condition, you're not going to get hurt.
Well, also pragmatically, if you dissolve it and then pour it into your tank, your fish are still going to be breathing it in some concentration. Yeah. So it doesn't really change much whether you just dry dose or whether you mix up a solution.
Yeah.
It was just a question that I thought of because after, starting to use it, I'm like, there's something the fish will go after anything. They do. It doesn't. If you drop a snail in a tank, they're going to investigate it. They're going to think everything's food. It's so weird. But that's why I was wondering was, people may have that question whenever they use it, and it's like, well, I'm going to watch my fish now, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Because it just, but my fish didn't die from it, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah, I haven't had a single case either.
For somebody that has very hard water, how does this formulation work in high iron content water? Does it work good? Does it work the same way? Because Paul has very hard water down there in North Carolina.
Excellent question. So I do have plans on making this product called everything but the hardness, right? So you can have that. I have had some really good friends from other parts of the country who have that concern. When I've researched their specific situations, and I seldom find a case that everything but the hardness is needed. But I will have a product out there for that. Yeah, there are people who use it with hard water, and they have really good results. I know that there's concerns regarding shrimp and certain species of that ilk. I do have plans for doing some shrimp products, some chemical shrimp products. I do have to say, like with everything, it isn't for absolutely everyone. And you can, as I've said, the prior anecdote of the one client who has a lovely tank, you can severely underdose it. But I do have plans of very quickly soon having everything but the hardness. And the other thing about hardness is the devil's in the details. Calcium, magnesium, and iron, and there's other hardnesses, but we don't generally regard them as hardnesses in the aquarium hobby. So just potassium. But like some hard water, I don't know, in the middle of California may have a lot of calcium but no magnesium. And in the hardness test, that's going to, whether you have all calcium and no magnesium or all magnesium and no calcium, you'll still get the same reading. So devil's in the details with that. The other thing is iron isn't always bioavailable. So you may get some iron hardness if you tested your water for such, but the iron may not be available to the plants, which means it doesn't matter for the plants at least. Yeah.
Okay. You brought the shrimp thing up, but Dee Dee wanted to know, is it safe for Caridina shrimp?
It's definitely very safe for Neocaridina. For Caridinas, I have used it in less than half a dose in systems with lots of them, and it's been fine. However, the maintenance for those systems, as shrimp folk may know, is different, right? So it's like smaller water changes, all RO. So I would say adjust accordingly to your water change. And also, this goes into a really interesting discussion and topic of like goals with aquariums. Like if you have a shrimp centric system, like, and you absolutely want to grow Cypress helferi, I don't know, maybe don't do that, right? like don't risk your shrimp. That's the proceed with caution, right? If you have a plant centric system, don't add a giant pleco that'll eat your plants. Like that's a bad idea. If you have a pleco system, you're probably not going to have that many plants. Maybe some lots of floaters. So it goes into that sort of thing. Yeah. I hope that makes sense.
One real quick, and then we're going to get to the giveaway because, wow, time just flew on us. So say you're dosing your tank with fertilizer, and this could be for any fertilizer, to be honest with you, not just yours. Say you got cats, and they love to climb up on stuff, and certain people's cats are drinking out of the aquarium. Is it going to affect them at all?
It's a good question. I can't really answer that question. I can tell you anecdotes. I've had cats and they love to drink fish tank water, and it's in there. Um, they're good and healthy, but that's just my personal anecdote. I have some other clients whose cats do that. Earlier in the podcast, when I was showing off the clips and you were talking about that lid thing, I had a good client who said, "Hey man, I need you to design. I love the clips. I like your product, but I just got 2 kittens and they're awfully curious. I don't want them drinking the water or getting the fish, so I designed a really tight fitting lid."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't answer that. I do want to look into it more. So far, the professionals in the vet industry, I haven't gotten much good, like
Yeah.
good pragmatic feedback to reply.
Okay. All right, everybody. Here's your last chance to get put in for the giveaway for tonight or this evening. Well, it's pretty much night over here, not for you guys. But it's hashtag FERT, and what you'll be getting is one of the 160-gram containers.
That's the updated formula, dechlor, and all the iron you can have in there. Yeah.
Let's see here. I give people a couple more seconds. Say we're good, nothing else. We're going to draw.
Oh, cool.
Alishon,
Awesome.
AS, Tom. That is great.
Nice ram.
Yeah. Oh man, I had
Yeah.
try and remember you want me to have them send you an email or just have them send me?
Or you, them, whatever.
I'll have them send it to me. Send me an email with your information, and I will get it out to him. I don't know. Should we do another one? Could we?
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah.
All right. We'll just.
I mean, we could also do like, I don't know, 3 more, and I could just send a smaller jar. That way, more people get a feel for it. And I appreciate feedback. I really do. Yeah.
Okay. We got 27 entries still. We're going to hit draw again. Boom, 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 boom. Fish rumor.
Yeah. Might want the 600 jar, the Luke jar. Hey, you show off your jar.
I think it's in the rack right now. I fertilized all the plant racks with it, so let's see if. Oh no. Yeah, here's.
Oh no, yeah, I have a label I'm working for the big one.
This is my jar.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Damn, that tank is so nice. Wow.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
It's looking great. It's great.
I'm gonna have to trim the plants from last night's auction in a sec.
Yeah, you got to get on that, don't you? You said 3 of them?
Sure. Let's do it.
Right, we'll do a third.
So the 3 are 60 grams. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. Oh. Nope. It's because I put it in the chat. Barbara Jackson, she's from your side of the coast.
West Coast?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, she's on the West Coast. Matter of fact, I think she is in California, too.
You can also tell me if anyone's particularly concerned that their water's like really hard. I can look into their, we can chat. We can look into their thing, and I could just omit a chemical or two according to them if they want.
All right.
So
We got 1 minute yet. 1 minute left. Make sure everybody goes over to see Susie Q. She's next. It says 55 on here because we started late because we was having some technical difficulties, but we got that figured out. I want to thank Hector and Luke for coming up today to talk about this. I wanted people to get to know about it. If you have any questions, email me. I'll get the email. I'll put it in the description here. Excuse me. But everybody go over to Q Aquatics. She's going live. Thank you, Marge, for everything else, for everything that you've done today. Posting stuff in the chat. The people that showed up, the lurkers lurking and just watching and listening. Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Goodbye.
thanks, Skipper.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk soon. See you, Luke.